Hi there, and in this video we're gonna discuss the light cons which you don't have to summon for at all. Currently in game we have two types of stores where you can directly buy the light cons without spending a premium currency or summoning at all. The first one you currently see on the screen is Hertas Simulated Universe Shop, and the second one is Hertas Shop, where you can also buy the light cons, but those are 4-star light cons for every path. So in this video we're gonna discuss which are the best light cons you can buy from those shops and how should you manage your resources. First of all, let's discuss Hertas Simulated Universe Shop, since here we can buy a 5-star light cons. So we have 3 5-star light cons. Also we have this material and also star rail passes, which are the worst option you can actually buy. So what are your 3 strategies to go? The first one is the most inefficient one. I really don't recommend you doing this, but if you're playing just for collection purposes and you want to get all 3 of those light cons, you can just go one by one. Of course, completely ignoring those superimposed materials, which you also have to buy to superimpose those 3 light cons. And this strategy by any means is the worst if you don't want just to get as much light cons as you want. But practically you don't need all 3 of those. Also you'll have to spend lots of time to actually get all 3, because the original copy costs 8 local currency while superimposition materials cost only 2. So for the price of additional light con you can already superimpose the light con you previously bought. And this is actually the second strategy, which is the best one. You choose one light con, you buy this light con, and then you superimpose it to superimposition 5, and then after this you choose another light con, also buy it, and then get this light con to superimposition 5, and then you finish with the last light con. You buy the last light con for 8 local currency and get it to superimposition 5, and then the point when we have all 3 light cons superimposed to superimposition 5, you can just simply buy star rail passes if developers don't release any additional light cons, for example for abundance path or some other path which might just appear here. So this I think is the most efficient strategy, the best one, and here we have to choose what light con to buy. You already see that I have bought the light con for Hunt path, since this is one of the best light cons for Zila, actually the second best after In the Night, which you have to summon for from Zila's time limited light con banner. That's why if you are using Hunt characters, especially Zila, or just using Hunt characters in general on your regular base, even not Zila, this light con, if you're not summoning on In the Night, might be just the best option to go for. You just buy it for 8 currency and then buy the superimposition materials. You actually need 4, and then you get this light con to superimposition 5. After that you have 2 other options. The first one is for destruction characters, so these light cons might be usable for characters like Clara or Hook. So if your main DPS character is Clara or Hook and you want to invest in those characters and you have no other option to use a light con for those characters, you might start from this light con and then buy Hunt light con when you already max out this one. And also we have here a preservation light con, which is considered to be the worst one because it just simply does not fit the current preservation characters playstyle we have. Usually on preservation characters you want one of 3 effects from light cons. You want to increase your defense, so you will scale up your shields. The second one, you want to taunt your enemies, so they will attack only preservation character you have. And the third one, you want to decrease your allies' damage taken, and this light con does nothing out of those 3 effects. So we might even say that this is one of the worst light cons we currently have for preservation path. So in general, your strategy, you select one of those 2 light cons. If you use Clara or Hook, you choose this one. If you use Zila or Danhang or Shushank or Yanqing, you choose this light con, and then you just buy 1 copy of it and 4 superimposition materials. After that you buy the other light con which you didn't buy first priority, and then when you finish with your second light con and also buy of course your materials for superimposition 5, you can buy a texture of memories, or maybe developers up to this moment of the game are releasing additional light con, for example for Harmony path, and it might be much better than texture of memories. Then you just get hypothetic Harmony or Nihility light con, which might be available here, but only in case those light cons are better than texture of memories. Also we kinda have third way how we can manage our local currency, we can just save it up, especially for those people who have in the night their main DPS character is Zilla and they are not using any other hunt characters. Also, they are not using Clara, or they just in general don't need this Lightcon. Then you can just save up all of your currencies, and if developers at some point release, for example, Harmony Lightcon, you can immediately buy that Lightcon because you saved up your currency. And even in the worst scenario where they never release any additional Lightcon, you just can any moment of the game by Cruise in the Stellar Sea or on the Fall of Ion. So in general, I think for those people who already have in the night, this might be a good strategy, but only if you want to save up those resources. So in general, that's all with Hertas Simulated Universe Shop. And now let's get to Forgotten Hall Shop. Now we get to Forgotten Hall Shop, and here we have 7 additional Lightcons for different paths, so let's just discuss one by one. First of all, we have an Abundance Lightcon, which is actually good, especially if you don't have any other Lightcon to replace this one, though I think you don't really have to focus on buying this Lightcon, and why we'll discuss a bit later in the video. The next one is good for specific Nihility characters, because this exact Lightcon is more for DOT characters. We also have debuffing characters for just decreasing defense or decreasing speed for enemies in Nihility class, and of course for those, this Lightcon is just bad. But if you're using any DOT character, this Lightcon might be actually good if you have no other replacement. About the Lightcon We Are Wildfire for preservation, it's also not that good. It's actually a bit better even than the 5-star Lightcon we have in Hertas Simulated Universe Shop, but in general I don't really recommend buying this first priority. Then we have a Hunt Lightcon, and of course if you're buying Cruise in the Stellar Sea, which is a 5-star Lightcon which you can buy in Hertas Simulated Universe Shop, that Lightcon will be much better. But if you focus on other Lightcon in Hertas Simulated Universe Shop, then this Lightcon is kinda good again if you can actually follow the conditions, which state that you don't have to be attacked with your hunt, or you can't receive damage with your hunt character in general, or you will lose all the buffs. If you can stick to this condition, this Lightcon is okay, but in general, again, I don't really recommend wasting your resources on this Lightcon first priority. Past and Future is a good Lightcon if you have no replacement for your Harmony characters, and we have already 3 Harmony characters in the game, so if you just don't have enough Lightcons and you use 1 Harmony character in one team, for example in Forgotten Hall, and 2 Harmony characters in another team, you can just put this Lightcon, because you don't really have any other ways to use like 3 Lightcons currently in the game. But in general, I don't think you have to spend like all of your resources to get this Lightcon to Superimposition 5. Then we have Destruction Lightcon, which is really good for Hook because it relies on burn, and Hook can guarantee your burns on the enemy. Though in general, of course, if we compare with 5-star Lightcons, this is not the best Lightcon for destruction characters in general, but if you're using Hook as your main DPS character in your main team or in your secondary Forgotten Hall team, then you might focus on this Lightcon, because again, it's really good specifically for Hook. And then we have Seriousness of Breakfast, which is Erudition Lightcon, and might be just the best free-to-play Erudition Lightcon we currently have in the game. Of course, it has really strong competition because we have a Battle Pass Lightcon, which is much better even on Superimposition 1 than this one, but you sadly can't get Battle Pass Lightcon, and also if you are not planning to summon on Genuine's Lightcon, then this might be a really good option, especially if you're using Serval, for example. Then this Lightcon just really shines on almost any Erudition character, no matter what character you are putting this on. So in general, you might see that those 4-star Lightcons are just more cheap replacements for other Lightcons, though we have some really good options. First of all, of course, Seriousness of Breakfast, then we have a Destruction Lightcon. In general, Hunt Lightcon is good if he didn't compare with 5-star free-to-play Lightcon, and also this Lightcon is really good, and specifically for DOT characters, this Nihility Lightcon might also be good if you don't have any other replacement, but in general, we really have to aim only for Seriousness of Breakfast or this Destruction Lightcon, because this Lightcon for Abundance and this Lightcon for Harmony are a bit more late game things, and you anyway can't currently buy all 5 copies of those Lightcons, but We also have an Echoes of War where we can randomly get these light cons. So in general, for example, if you get already a few copies of Seriousness of Breakfast, I recommend you focusing on Seriousness of Breakfast. Or if you're using Hook and you already got at least 1 or 2 copies of this Destruction light con, you can just focus on Destruction light con. Again, for Hunt, I think there are much better options, especially a free-to-play 5-star light con. And if you're talking about Harmony and Abundance light cons, I think it depends on if you have a really good DPS light cons for your Hunt and Erudition characters. If you already have a 5-star light con from Simulated Universe shop, and also you have either a Battle Pass light con or this light con superimposed, then you can slowly, especially if you have few copies of Abundance light con or Harmony light con, you can invest into those and get them to Superimposition 5. So that's actually it with Forgotten Hall light con shop. We of course don't have that much good options since those are 4 stars, but in general that's it. Thanks for your kind attention and see you soon.